Welcome to AFREEN Academy. In today's video, we're going to talk about a very important topic, which is GDP. What is GDP? How it is calculated? On what basis it is calculated? All we are going to learn in this video. GDP is nothing but gross domestic product. Now let's focus on this both. What is gross and what is domestic? Gross is nothing but net or total, and domestic is nothing but household. So by this full form we can extract the definition. GDP is nothing but selling of final product or giving services within the boundary limit of a particular country in 1 year is known as GDP. Now you'll be thinking that paddy, which is the initial stage of rice, also come in the GDP. No, only the final product will come in the GDP. Same for wheat and other materials. GDP doesn't tell us about the how much amount of paddy is sold to the rice millers to make it a final product. Only we see the final product, how much public or we can say people have bought it. And GDP is characterized into three bases. By this particular three bases only we calculate the GDP. These three are the main aspects for calculating the GDP. Let's see what are they. The first one is the agriculture, and the second one is service sector, and the third one is industries or factories. So by these three sectors, how much product is sold or services is given, we calculate it for GDP for a particular country. So buying of some plastic materials which is manufactured in the factory, or buying food materials like rice, wheat, this is given by the carpenter, a watchman, all comes under GDP. Suppose a particular country is having the GDP amount as 500 crores. We doesn't write the value. We never write the value. We always take it as percentage. Seeing the last year GDP, if it is increased, we say that 2-3% increased according to the value. Value is calculated but never written. It's always shown in percentage. How much percentage increased or how much percentage decreased. So if we are calculating GDP in percentage, then there must be a formula for getting the percentage from the value. Yes, we are having a formula for calculating the GDP. Let us see what is the formula. Simple formula for calculating GDP is present GDP minus last year GDP by last year GDP into 100. We'll get a percentage, that is will be the GDP. This is how we calculate GDP for every particular country and compare according to the GDP. So now what happens if GDP increases? It's a simple thing. If GDP increases, then people will think, even the outsiders will think that there is a lot of people who are buying products, so they start selling in a country. If it decreases, then not much amount of people who are buying the products of these three particular sectors, so they will not come in our country. So this how GDP is related to the people investing in our country. GDP never shows that our country is developed. It just shows how much amount of products are sold, whether in a great percentage or in less percentage in a particular country from these three sectors. Now let's particularly talk about India's GDP. So there will be many people who will be thinking that India GDP is totally dependent on agriculture, but it's totally wrong. India GDP is not dependent on agriculture, because we are getting a very less GDP from agriculture, because many people are shifting to cities for the job and for the welfare of the children. Thinking that agriculture is not getting them to earn more. We are getting from services. Yes, more we are getting from services, because you know that the unemployment percentage in India is very much. 30% of people are unemployed in India. So hence services is the main sector for getting more GDP. Employed percentage in India is less than 10%. This will become another lengthy topic about unemployed and employed sectors. I will be trying to in this topic in the next video. Thanks for watching.